Hello, I'm an addict named Bill. It's been a while since I've added new content to this channel, so I'm going to share the back section of our basic text, which has individual member stories. It seems counterintuitive or to conflict with our traditions, but the intro should really help explain this. All right, here we go, y'all. Our members share, my gratitude speaks, when I care and when I share with others the NA way. Introduction to our members share. In our meetings, our lives, and our literature, we help each other by sharing our experience and the tools we use to live clean and recover. The basic text is an expression of this desire to carry our message. The first 10 chapters contain our collective wisdom describing the program, and now we turn to our individual experiences living the program. Our members' lives depend on our program. Our program comes to life through the voices of our members. Our first tradition teaches us to look past our differences for our common welfare. The concept of unity described in this tradition is not the same thing as uniformity. Over time, we find that those differences are precisely the things that enrich us. In the particulars of our stories, the truth of our message comes through, and we see how alike we really are. This can seem like a contradiction in NA. Our development as individuals and as a fellowship is about fostering our common bonds and common identity. At the same time, we cultivate and cherish the things that make each of us who we are. To stay strong and grow, we need both of these points of view. Since our basic text was first published, we have grown and changed as a fellowship. Our membership has broadened, and our experience has deepened. Today, we are truly worldwide, and each of our local NA communities contains worlds as well. Together, we made a decision to revise this part of the book to embrace and reflect these changes. In the pages that follow, our members share their experiences getting clean, staying clean, and living clean. The experience shared here is as diverse as we are. Our members write about going back to school, losing people they love, struggling with health problems, making amends, coming to terms with their sexuality, raising children, serving the fellowship we all love, and countless other successes and challenges. You may read about choices that are contrary to your beliefs or to the customs of your NA community. The individual paths our members choose to walk do not necessarily reflect the views of NA as a whole, and it is important to keep in mind that these are all personal experiences. It would be impossible in one collection to fully reflect the diversity in who our members are or what we have gone through, but here we have gathered some of that richness. Each individual piece is very briefly summarized at the beginning and in the table of contents. If you're looking for something specific like someone confronted with illness or someone who got clean young, you may be able to find it more quickly. We have organized the collection into 4 sections, each of which begins with an assortment of brief reflections from our members. The first section, Beginnings, consists of 6 stories from previous editions of the basic text. The pieces have been chosen in part for their historical significance and are not edited for publication here. These voices of some of our early members act as a window on our formative years. After Beginnings, the text is divided into 3 more sections. In the Coming Home section, members share about finding NA, or in some cases, starting NA in their part of the world. Our readings tell us that anyone can find a home in NA, regardless of age, race, sexual identity, creed, religion, or lack of religion. In the Regardless of section, members talk about their journey to find acceptance in NA and to make NA a place where all of us can feel safe and welcome. The final section, Life on Life's Terms, focuses on practicing the principles in the face of all that life offers, fully awake and alive. We confront joy and tragedy and the simple pleasures of day-to-day life. You may not relate to everything you read here, just as you might not identify with everyone who shares in an NA meeting, but we hope that at least some of these voices will touch and inspire you. In NA, we learn that as addicts, we are not unique, but as people, we are individuals, and our experience matters. Collectively, we are so much more than the sum of our parts. Each of us, regardless of our clean time or where we came from, has something to contribute by sharing openly and honestly, and something to gain when we listen with an open heart. I hope these stories will encourage you. It's taking a lot of time to put them out here, but it's just another way for me to be of service. Thanks for being part of my recovery today. The next 4 stories are in the beginning section. This sample of stories from early members gives some glimpses of NA in the late 70s and early 80s. They have been chosen in part for their historical significance and, as such, have not been edited. Over time, we have learned to be clear in our language and identification. These stories, however, are reproduced exactly as they were published in the 5th edition Basic Text 1988. The short passages that begin this section are excerpted from stories in previous editions of the Basic Text. This can be found on page 117 in the 6th edition of our Basic Text. Reflections. It was suggested to me that I start an NA meeting in my area. I was frightened and didn't think I had enough clean time. My friends told me that I could be miserable as long as I wanted to be. With the help of God and other addicts, that meeting began and continues to thrive. I want to keep what has been given to me, so I actively share through loving service to NA wherever and however I am asked. The spirit of this fellowship is in me today. I have come to know unconditional love. I was 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighed 282 pounds 3. I ate compulsively to try and handle my feelings and emotions and to make me feel better. As a matter of fact, this is how I originally got in using heavy drugs. I wanted to lose weight so desperately that I became willing to use heroin. I thought I would be smart enough not to get hooked, that I could use and lose my appetite, feel good, and outsmart the game. I bounced around the country and ended up in penitentiaries and jails. This was the beginning of the end. Not only was I a compulsive overeater and remained fat, but I was also addicted to the drugs I was using. When I came to this program, I found something that I had never experienced before: total acceptance for who and what I was. I was invited to keep coming back to a fellowship that told me there were no fees or dues, that I had already paid my dues via my past life, and that if I kept coming back, I would find total freedom and a new way of life. There is no question about it. I owe my life to the Narcotics Anonymous Fellowship and God. So much had been going really good. I had a diploma, a brand new car, a driver's license, and a good relationship with my parents. My girlfriend was seeing a therapist who told her we should get involved in something together, like starting an NA meeting in our area. The closest NA meeting was over an hour away, and there were only 2 a month at that. After we started the meeting, she got high and moved out. My best friend had been getting high for a while, and they started going out together, and that really ripped me up inside. I had a dog who I cried to every night, and he couldn't even stand it and ran away. Since I had started this NA meeting, I continued to go, and the meeting grew. Here I was with 2 years, crying in the meeting, feeling sorry for myself and depressed, and having newcomers with 30 days clean telling me it would be better, be grateful for what you have, and keep coming back. People who were new in the fellowship would come over to my house and 12th step me. They kept me coming back. They told me that they loved me. I was depressed for 2 months like that, and during that time, 2 more meetings started. I was making 3 meetings a week, and I started working the steps. I was getting involved in our area service and started being grateful for everything I had. I was so grateful to be alive, and I believe that that was because of the NA fellowship. I remember feeling like I didn't belong in NA because pot was really my problem, although I had used other drugs. I read the little white pamphlet, Narcotics Anonymous. It said an addict was someone who lived to use and used to live, and that our lives and thinking were centered on getting and using drugs. That sounded like me. Then it said they didn't care what drug I used, and the only requirement for membership was the honest desire to stop using. I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, they would let me stay. I started going to a meeting every day, or I talked with another addict. The members told me they needed me, and I began to feel a part of. I attended regularly and tried to support new meetings. I learned about the steps and I tried to work them. I didn't use, I took inventories, I made amends, and I prayed. That's one of the things I'm grateful for, is having the freedom to have a God as I understood him. One day I realized I was being freed from my addiction. The obsession and the compulsion were no longer the dominating force in my life. Growing spiritually was. A year before I came to Narcotics Anonymous, I found myself hopelessly addicted to cough syrup, drinking 5 or 6 4-ounce bottles a day. I needed help, so I went to a doctor. He prescribed Dexedrine and would give me a shot that made me feel good. I found myself going to him practically every day. This continued for about 8 months, and I was very happy with my newfound legal addiction. I was also getting codeine from a different doctor. I now became insanely afraid and began drinking too. This went on around the clock for a month, and I ended up in a mental institution. After being released from the hospital, I thought I was free from narcotics and now I could drink socially. I soon found out I could not. It was then that I sought help from NA. Here I learned that my real problem did not lie in the drugs that I had been using, but in a distorted personality that had developed over the years of my using and even before that. In NA, I was able to help myself with the help of others in the fellowship. I find I am making progress in facing reality, and I'm growing a day at a time. I find new interests now that mean something, and realize that that was one of the things which I was looking for in drugs. I had a job and was working steadily, but my life wasn't working. I was still drug dependent. This was the beginning of the end, the start of my recovery. I was in a state of hopeless desperation. I just wanted to lay down and die. I looked for a methadone program, but none were available. My boss asked me the next day what was wrong with me. Before I knew it, I was telling him the truth. I said I was a drug addict. He asked me if I wanted help. I told him yes. This was the first of many spiritual awakenings. I went to a hospital in Louisiana and from there to a halfway house. This is where I found Narcotics Anonymous. NA was the tribe I never had. I found the same type of people that I had run with on the streets. There was something different about them. They had a piece I wanted. Today I can look in the mirror and laugh at myself. I won't say that I have a good self-image today, but it's better than it used to be. When I was using, I mastered the art of fight or flee. I would either run from a situation or fight it out, but never face it. Most of the time, it was me I was running from. The words serenity and surrender were foreign to my vocabulary. I am learning that I usually have as much serenity as I have surrendered. For half my life, I have been careening wildly through the sea of chaos and destruction. The program of Narcotics Anonymous has shown me serenity and direction. I am growing to realize that my experience can benefit those who still suffer. The freedom that I have always sought, I have found in the steps of the program. The next story is titled, I Found the Only NA Meeting in the World, and can be found on page 121 of the 6th edition basic text.